The following feature presentation is part of the Skywalking Network.
This is what you can look forward to on episode 456 of Skywalking through Neverland.
Okay, raise your hand if you shed a tear.
Oh, yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, I didn't make that connection till now, but yeah, the Clone X totally seems like part of the line that leads to Death Troopers.
Look, Ahsoka. Aww.
You just can't trust a good Imperial, can you?
It's like a little bit faster than the Terminator theme, but it's got those like 3 notes.
Wow, this is a really good discussion. It's just bringing all these crazy ideas up.
Are you ready?
Off to Neverland!
Here we go!
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land.
When I first made Star Wars, everybody in Hollywood said, well, this is a movie Disney should have made.
You're more than just fans. You're family.
Best day ever!
Secrets love.
It's about family, and that's what's so powerful about it.
Hey.
When you use a bird to write with, it's called tweeting.
When we visit the world of Disney, we never grow old. It's a Peter Pan, Neverland that keeps us young in heart.
This is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you are skywalking through Neverland. I have a good feeling about this.
Hey, Skywalkers! Will Clone Force 99 ever find Mount Tantus? Who are these Clone X's? And how soon until all the clones band together for a nice life on Pabu? Well, we have lots to get into, but right now, we want to welcome you back to
Skywalking through Neverland.
I am Richard Wolosky, but now everyone please say hello to my sweetie wife, Sarah, who is sitting right next to me.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, it has been a long day, and I wasn't prepared. That's the best I could come up with.
Who's looking cute in her shirt celebrating the women of Star Wars?
That would be you.
How's that?
See, it was right there, and I missed it. I failed miserably as a co-host and a husband.
Only for 5 minutes. Then you're good.
Okay, I'll be my timeout corner.
Okay, well, Skywalkers, we are your enthusiastic podcast destination for the many decades of your Star Wars, Disney, Marvel, and pop culture fandom. No one sits Richard in a corner.
No.
So it's
Except
time.
for you, apparently.
No, you're the one who put yourself in the corner.
Well, that's true. Okay.
Yes.
Then I put myself in a corner.
Yes, so don't go
Nobody
blaming
else.
me. All right. Well, for that, I think we need some big Wookiee hugs. How about that?
Okay, good.
All right, it's time for your big Wookiee hug to our family of Skywalkers. And your little sprinkle of pixie dust. And that is because you are our family of Skywalkers. We love you. And we are live right now recording our wraparounds on the Skywalking Through Neverland YouTube channel and Facebook page and other things, StreamYard, all kinds of things. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, especially to our YouTube channel for notifications. Click on that bell for alerts, and then that way you can know whenever we go live. And subscribing to that channel really helps. So just search YouTube for Skywalking Through Neverland and subscribe. There you go.
Yes, we're at 8819 subscribers this week. Let's get to 8825. Last time we put out this call to the Skywalkers, they stepped up.
That's right.
And I don't know if you took a phone from somebody and tapped the subscribe button. I know that's what we do. So don't ever leave your cell phone unmanned, because we will find it, we will get into it, and we will subscribe. So we want to get to 8825. That's only 6.
Yeah,
That's
not too much.
That's not a big ask.
Not too much
6.
away. All right, well, in this episode, James Floyd from Star Warsologies joins us as we go through the last 4 episodes leading up to the midpoint of The Bad Batch this season. And we talk about the theories, the music, and where we think this series will end up. And we come up with so many theories in the moment that we really hope will come true.
Oh, I really hope they do, because we come up with some zingers.
Yeah, it's really fun.
All right, now we are being sponsored by Small World Vacations, and they are a diamond-level Disney vacation planner travel agency and can help you book your trip to a Disney park around the world. And best of all, This service is free of charge. So head over there to smallworldvacations.com for a no obligation price quote and tell them Skywalking Through Neverland sent you.
Now, before we go on, I want to mention we got some call-outs. We got some more Skywalkers joining us live.
Okay. All right, great. We have Kenneth Crayley is joining us, and we have our Canadian buddy, Reynold Gobet.
Oh, here we go. Kenneth Crayley says, hey, Skywalkers. Reynold, hey. Kelly Turkel, oh, hey, and Courtney Turkel. Hi, guys, and my mom.
Your mom. They just arrived in Sonoma, Texas.
Yeah, Sonora, yes.
Sonora, yes.
My mom and dad are probably watching. Hi, guys.
Hey. All right, now we are recording this from Long Beach, California on March the 19th, 2024.
All right, so Richard, what happened today in Star Wars history?
Now, normally we go back like 40, 45 years in the Star Wars history. Today we're going to go back just 6 years in Star Wars history to March the 19th, 2018.
Oh.
Seemed like only yesterday. This is one of the first 8 episodes of the micro-series Forces of Destiny Season 2 premieres on the official Disney YouTube channel. And this series features several actors reprising their roles, such as Ashley Eckstein as Ahsoka, Vanessa Marshall returns as Hera Syndulla, Catherine Tabor as Padme Amidala, Tia Sircar as Sabine Wren, and several actors from the live-action films come back, like Daisy Ridley as Rey, Felicity Jones as Jyn Erso, Lupita Nyong'o as Maz Kanata, and Kelly Marie Tran as Rose Tico.
I know, that was a very exciting factoid about the Forces of Destiny series. Like, they're so small and little, it's like, why should I watch these episodes? Well, the voices are the actual actors who did those
the roles. And what they did is got most of these little micro shorts and made it into like 1.5 hour episode.
Yeah, that's true.
With Maz Kanata as the thread.
They are so cute.
Oh,
Yeah,
very,
Maz Kanata
very
like
cute.
telling you a campfire story, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, let's call out the 6th episode in Season 2, Bounty Hunted, where Leia, Chewbacca, and R2-D2 travel to Ord Mantell to meet with Maz Kanata with hopes that she can recover the carbon-froze Han Solo.
Oh.
And Maz lures Bounty Hunter Bausch into a firefight so Leia can obtain his helmet and armor for a perfect disguise. I've always wondered, how did Leia get Bausch's outfit? Well, now we know.
That is so cool.
Now, in this episode, this is one of my favorite episodes. Do you know why?
Why?
Because as Leia, Chewie, and R2 are entering the marketplace, we do see in the shadows Jackson.
Yes.
Jackson is hiding over there. We saw him, and a lot of other Skywalkers saw him too when this aired, and they all took screenshots and sent them to us.
They tagged us. Yeah. So exciting.
So this says that Jackson lives.
Now,
he lives.
He lives. Now, not only were the shorts so cute, and one of my favorite shorts was where Leia got gifted her outfit in the Ewok village, where we see her in Return of the Jedi in this outfit. So the Forces of Destiny series were accompanied by all these figures you could get at Target and other places, and they're like dolls. They're the dolls. Oh, I think they called them adventure figures or something.
Yeah.
But
hoping boys would buy them too.
Yeah.
If they put them in pink packages, we would.
So it had, several different versions of Leia. Here is Rey in her regular, Here is Rey in her regular, no, it's my turn. Here is Rey in her regular outfit.
That's her Octo outfit.
Octo, yes. Hold that. And I have all of them, but I'm just going to show you a few right now. And who has these? I want to know. Let me know who has them on your shelf. Look, Ahsoka. Oh, a little younger version of Ahsoka. But the detail on these are just so cute. And the boots, they come off, things like that. And then,
they didn't just make the action figures for the girls. They made some for the boys, too.
Yeah, look. It's Chewbacca. And this is one of the most coolest figures. Oops, his little armband has fallen down. But
his bandolier.
Bandolier, thank you. Look, he's even got his
crossbow.
Crossbow. See, I'm glad you're here to tell us these things because I don't have these weapons in my inventory. Oh my God. And look at his feet. Look at the detail.
Fully posable.
On his feet. Look at that. It's so funny. He doesn't have Andy written on the bottom though. All right.
Yeah, look at the articulation.
Yeah, it's really cool. Roar.
Yeah, fully posable. I think even when I was a boy, as a little boy, I would have wanted these figures.
Oh, yeah?
The Ahsoka, the Rey and Leia.
They have a Jyn Erso
They have a
too.
Jyn yeah.
Sabine.
So
yeah.
I figured a lot of boys did cross over and say, hey, you know what? These look fun. I want these too.
Yeah, let us know. Do you guys have these figures? They're so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, I think my favorite though is Leia. Now her hair was initially braided, and I'm like, well, dude, my dolls need to have their hair out, so I undid her back braids. So and then she has a different outfit. She has that overcoat when you're in the Ewoks.
Poncho.
The poncho. Thank you. The poncho. On Endor.
It has been a long day.
It really has. On Endor, she has the poncho. Yeah. But so she's the only one who is like underneath, she's more like a Barbie doll, whereas the rest have sculpted legs and stuff that you can't take off.
Sculpted clothing.
Sculpted clothing. You can't take off those pants, but she's just, bare underneath.
This is a family show. What are you doing?
I'm showing off my Forces of Destiny figures.
All right, put your toys away, all right? It's time to move on. From one beloved series to another, let's get into The Bad Batch Season 3.
And a half.
Hard to believe we are at the mid-season point of The Bad Batch Season 3. There have been so many surprise moments, plenty of talk of the M count, and a plot that foreshadows the rise of Skywalker.
James Floyd of Star Warsologies is back with us to review this half season and give us his thoughts.
Hey, James!
Hey, Rich and Sarah. How's it going today?
It is going good. Do you know why? We're going to talk Bad Batch.
Woohoo!
That's right.
Yeah, got so many things to get into with this first half of the season. But first, let's hear a little bit about you and Star Warsologies.
The last couple episodes have been kind of lots of different topics. We recently had 2 different panels at LA Comic-Con, the Science of Ahsoka and Science Advisors on Science Fiction. And so those were some great panels. You can check them out. And then more recently, we had an episode on anthropology and alien design with an anatomist. And then our most recent one is conflict resolution. And we had 2 people, Jen Reynolds and Noam Ebner, who wrote a book, Star Wars and Conflict Resolution. And so we talk with them and get some insights on the nature of conflict and how we see different Star Wars characters do good conflict resolution and sometimes not, or sometimes do some not so good resolving of their issues.
So you must be having a field day with this season of Bad Batch. Everything you just explained, we see take place in the Bad Batch.
Yes, there is definitely a lot of character dynamics happening there that is really cool, because that's what makes Star Wars so great, is seeing these characters that we love interact and get along and not get along.
Right. So we'd really love to know your initial thoughts of this season so far of the Bad Batch.
I've been really enjoying it. I love all this stuff that they're doing with Crosshair and his relationship with Omega. We're trying to see if this is going to be a redemption arc for him. And just all these cool things. Batcher is so awesome. And totally unexpected that they would get this new team member. And just seeing everything that kind of having Nala Se and Mount Tantus and Hemlock. Hemlock is such a villain.
Do you watch the show with your daughter or any of your family?
I watch it with my wife. That we'll wait a couple of years for little Jawa to watch Bad Batch. That obviously we got to get through Clone Wars first too.
How old is your daughter?
She is now 9.
9. Oh boy! Last time I saw her, she was like 2.
I know, right?
So, do you think that this season is a little too dark for a 9-year-old?
I don't know. That there's definitely been some darker stuff before. I mean, the show starts off with Order 66. So, no, I think it is definitely, a lot of times when we watch all kinds of things, we discuss afterwards and pick it apart and talk about, why did a character do this, or, what was good or bad about this thing.
All right. So, Sarah, we talked about episodes 1 through 3 before. So,
Yes.
what is your opinion of this 4 through 7?
Oh, like overall
That we're going
as
to
a
talk
whole.
about today, yeah.
Okay, I really like how Crosshair has kind of had to prove himself to each character along the way, especially in these 4 through 7 episodes. Like episode 4, he really had to prove himself to Omega, and he almost took like the child role, and Omega was the lead in that one. And then each successive episode, Hunter was the next episode, and then the rest of the team, like Rex and the rest of the team in Infiltration and Extraction. And Wrecker, he's just kind of the brotherly guy. He's just happy that the gang's all here. So you don't have to prove anything to Wrecker.
Yeah, he's got a very low bar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if I have my family, if I have Omega, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feed me, I'm fine. Just like most guys.
Yeah. Now, what about you, Richard?
I'm really loving the relationship between Omega and Crosshair, because it is the who's the mentor, who's the teacher. But now we know who the mentor and who the teacher is. We have this new edition of Batcher, and I can't wait to see all the cosplaying Batchers at the next celebration. Be really fun.
Oh.
And Hemlock, we'll get into him in just a little bit, but wow, this is a guy to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many very, very strong characters, so many very strong relationships and situations, and I'm just on the edge of my seat wondering where this is all going to go. Because now you have the Emperor back there too, with
I know.
with his whole Project Necromancer. Necromancer.
Necromancer. Yes.
Yeah, so it's like, whoa, okay. And if he's telling Hemlock, you know what, whatever you need, you have access to. Like, oh, don't say that to someone like Hemlock.
Right.
He's gonna abuse that. Two battle stations. What do you got there? And whatever Palpatine's like, hey, take whatever you like. You want a lightsaber? Here, take mine.
As long as it works out.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to share a summary of each episode, so those of you listening can get that episode in your head. We're going to each share some thoughts on we're going to dive deep into each episode. And
from episode 4 through episode 7.
Correct.
Which brings us to the midpoint.
Yes. So let's go over episode 4 first. This is called A Different Approach. So following their escape, Omega, Crosshair, and Batcher make an emergency landing on Lao, which is a shadowy planet crawling with Imperials. Meanwhile, back at the Imperial facility on Tantus, a captive Nala Se continues to protect Omega's whereabouts from Dr. Hemlock, who is determined to get the young clone back. In an effort to get off Lao, Omega looks to hustle some locals in a game of cards until an Imperial officer challenges her, complicating the situation.
Oh, that darn captain. James, you're our guest. You go first. What do you think of this episode?
I enjoyed it that we get to see kind of Omega kind of on her own, that Crosshair is there too, but Omega's calling the shots, at least for the first half of the episode. It's like, we're going to do it my way for a while. And then when everything goes to crap, then it's like, Crosshair, you do it your way. I love this idea that they're playing this game Balance, this card game that they've made up basically for this episode. And it's a real game that they made up. Like, they were playing it in the studio and yeah, so it looks cool. And the fact that, she's hustling like this Trandoshan, and that this planet Lao is just overall kind of like a dump. It's just sketchy, and like there's no reason you would be there unless you were stuck there.
Yeah, it seems very much like Corellia or Black Spire Outpost.
Yeah,
it's a
definitely.
Place you end up.
Right. Now, you mentioned the whole Trandoshan, and I didn't think about that really. But Trandoshans are usually very intimidating, very scary creatures, and yet here's little Omega. Oh yeah, I'll just go up right up to you, right up to you, little Trandoshan.
But then you get the captain coming over and saying, "You're sitting in my seat." The Trandoshan gets up right away. It's like, oh, I'm not. I know I can be intimidating to everybody else, but not to this 9-year-old girl or to this Imperial captain.
He's not a very good example of a Trandoshan.
Man, well, if his big shtick is having to hustle cards himself, then he's not really the most intimidating. He's like, oh yeah, I'll beat you at cards. I'm not going to rip your arms off or anything.
Or more's the pity, exactly.
Yeah, I think this is one of the first times we see an Imperial lieutenant man that is just basically super corrupt, that he runs this town with an iron fist. And it's like, oh, you beat me at cards. Well, I'm not supposed to be playing cards, and now there's a penalty for gambling. You got to pay up. So it's just like, no matter which way, I'm gonna shake you down and get what I want. And he's got his little animal trafficking ring and all kinds of stuff. He's just like scummy and corrupt, as well as working for the evil empire.
Yeah, he's saying, if you're gonna dump me on this backwater planet empire, well, I'm gonna make my own way.
All right, so I'm going to go into some of the things I was thinking about. And in this episode overall, you really get that theme that Star Wars likes to talk about, which is nature versus technology. And nature often wins. And the rebels embrace nature, like in Return of the Jedi. They used the Ewoks, or the Ewoks helped them out, and they used trees to batter the Imperial walkers. And
trees were their main weapon. Instead of cannons, we'll throw trees at you.
Trees and sticks and all kinds of stones. Sticks and stones will break your helmets. Armor. Yes, exactly. And so in this episode, we see a similar thing happen. Omega and Crosshair, at the end, they're locked in. They can't get to a ship to escape. They're about to be captured. And they decide, okay, well, let's harness the energy of these animals that have all been locked up too. And they unlock all the animals, unleash nature heck across the whole city. And then therefore they could make their escape. So they used nature to overpower the technology of the Empire at that point.
All right. Now, for me, this is like one of the couple of Jurassic Park themed episodes.
Yeah.
So we have a little Jurassic Park in this one. We have a little Solo in this one, when Omega tries to bribe her way through the post.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this time didn't really work out. But who knows what would have happened when Omega went back, and if she had given that woman the credits, which she had done the same thing the other Imperial did in Solo, going, okay, I'll take this, the coaxium, I'm also going to tell on you.
Yeah.
Those Imperials, you just can't trust a good Imperial, can you?
And she was also like, oh no, this will only be for one of you as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Pray I don't alter it any further.
Yeah. She said, I've been hanging around this Sith Lord. Boy, did I pick up a whole lot of life strategies. All right, now, Hemlock. We got to talk about this dude. This guy is fearsome. He's much like Thrawn. He's very soft-spoken. And when a bad guy speaks so softly and so slowly, that's someone you want to fear. And I'm really hoping that he makes it out of the series.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, me too. He's a very interesting villain.
Yeah. He's unlike anything else we've seen before. He's very scientific, whereas Thrawn is very cultured and bases all of his strategies around art. This guy's all around science.
That's true. Hey, you should relate to that, James.
Yeah, James,
yes.
whole episode series on that. Now,
definitely.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, you know what? We're there. Okay, put it down. James is gonna do this. Call Melissa. All right, now the relationship between Omega and Crosshair. Once again, you gotta love this. Omega has got that can-do attitude. No matter what, I want to do it. She wants to gamble with nothing to back up her bets, but doesn't let that get in the way. However, Crosshair's like, oh, okay, hold on here. We gotta let a little bit of wisdom in here. We don't have anything to bet with. And Omega's all like, hey, you know what? Doesn't matter. We'll make it up as we go along. So Crosshair is right, but in the end, Omega's can-do spirit is what gets them through.
Also, I think it's because Crosshair has been confined and he's been a prisoner for a long time, 6 months or something like that.
Even so, I think that's his nature.
Yeah.
The no.
That is
He's true. Very pessimistic and on his own. And now it's like, okay, I'm in charge of this, kid that just things magically happen for her. And but meanwhile, we see that relationship, or that connection with the other kid out in the street that he's like, oh hey, oh no, we have to bribe you now. What?
Now, you gotta love this heartwarming conclusion with Omega and you got Crosshair in the back, reuniting with Wrecker and Hunter. Okay, raise your hand if you shed a tear.
Oh, yeah.
Right here. How could you not? And Hunter says, yeah, we crossed the galaxy 5 times looking for you. But in the end, once again, it was that can-do attitude of Omega where she found her family.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah, I just love that part because once again, it's Omega always there to save the day.
Crosshair's like, oh, hi guys.
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you gonna
too.
kill me?
Yeah.
I know I have a lot to answer for, but give me a moment.
Yeah, the music changes.
Did you get
at
my
that point.
postcards?
Yeah, I texted you. Did you get? No, you didn't get that. Oh my goodness. Oh, my service is horrible.
I was sending them to tech. Oh.
Oh, too soon. Now, Sarah and I have just been watching some older Star Trek episodes, and we saw that episode where Kirk and Spock steal clothes when they went back to 1932 or something.
City on the Edge of Forever.
Yeah, they steal the clothes so they could blend in because Spock in his ears. And when we saw Omega and Crosshair stealing those clothes, hey, that's a Star Trek reference.
Yeah.
But of course,
that's like every strangers have to come to town. Is like, what do? You look for clotheslines. Apparently, everybody has clotheslines.
Exactly. Yes.
Spock and his beanie. Gotta have a beanie.
Yeah. But just having seen Star Trek, we thought, oh, there's Star Trek.
Yeah, that was really funny.
I think even The Simpsons did that. Every South Park did it. Too Close for Comfort, Happy Days. Every TV series had done that.
Now, I do have a note on this episode because it wasn't until the second time that I watched through the episode. And after this, in other episodes, all the Bad Batch and Rex is like, okay, where's Tantus? Where's Tantus? And I'm thinking, well, Crosshair and Omega just came from Tantus. Shouldn't they know where Tantus is? Because they just came from there. But that is answered in the very beginning of this episode when they crash land on Lao. And Omega's looking at the Nava computer. She's like, oh, it's busted. I can't get the coordinates to Tantus from here. So it's like, oh, okay.
But the radio works great. Clear as a bell.
So yeah, I just want to bring that up because some people asked about that and I had that question too.
Right.
And it's like, no, the writers thought about that.
All right, with that, let's move on to the 5th episode, The Return.
Okay, this is a return to the outpost. So without Tech, the Bad Batch visits the remote outpost to gather encrypted Imperial data on Nala Se's iPad, hoping to find where Mount Tantus is. They find an abandoned outpost and transfer power from a perimeter fence to find the data they need. However, this unleashed a snow worm. The Batch must work together and come to terms with Crosshair rejoining the team in order to escape the planet unscathed.
Oh.
Woo!
I thought it was really interesting that they go back to that planet because Crosshair has some memories of that from the episode The Outpost from season 2, and I was expecting a little more to connect with that, and instead we get this ice worm, which is really cool, and it allows for this big scene at the end with Crosshair and Hunter finally coming back together as they have to fight side by side doing their different bits. But I don't know, I think the most poignant part for me was when Crosshair is setting up the helmets of the fallen clones that were still in the base. And then Hunter sees that and realizes, there's more to Crosshair than him just being part of the Empire in that phase.
Yeah, I feel like that a lot of Crosshair's actions show that he's changed more so than his words. Because Crosshair, he's not a very eloquent guy. He doesn't talk a lot. He doesn't need to. He's a sniper. He's usually,
a lone wolf.
Yeah, he's by himself. He's a lone vulture.
Oh, there you
go. By himself. So, yeah. And in fact, the ice vulture returns in this episode as well. And the ice vulture is really almost used as a...
symbolic. Very, very symbolic.
Yeah, thank you.
The way the convor was.
Right, to Ahsoka. So the convor to Ahsoka is the ice vulture to Crosshair. Yeah.
I want a bird spirit.
Yeah, no kidding. What would be your bird spirit?
Oh, a porg.
Nice.
Mine would be a Minoc.
Minok is a bird, you think? It's not really.
It flies.
It's got
wings.
It's it's a flying reptile, like
You
a
want a
pterodactyl.
Okay. Oh gosh, I don't know what I would be.
A convor.
Is there a really? Okay. Is there a flying fox?
There's the
if you
Vulptex.
get a
Yeah.
Vulptex in the air,
they're not
yeah.
flying.
Yeah, there you go.
now he flies. Anything could fly.
I'll be that.
Today we're teaching Vulptexes how to land.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Teach us that first.
The scenes at the beginning when they're still on Pabo and just the awkwardness of like, hi, we're all here. We don't trust you. And then there's, Crosshair going out to target practice with AZ3, and poor AZ3 is just like, I'm going to hold up this target and pray you don't hit me because you're obviously not hitting the target. But then, Omega sees this and, realizes that, Crosshair is not on his game anymore, that imprisonment or injury or whatever is holding him from, what he used to be able to do. And then, the other guys kind of see this as well. And so they're, it's like, how do we bring back a brother that, wasn't on our side and was actively hunting us down? It's a tough thing because it's like, family.
Yeah.
Right.
He's been poked and prodded. Who knows what has been injected inside of him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We learn later there's been way more to Crosshair than we've seen. Yeah.
I'm very glad they went back to the outpost because that's where it all started for Crosshair. That was his rebirth into knowing who he was and what's important to him and what's not important to him anymore. The big snow worm, I love a good underground creature. And this is very reminiscent to the Rebels episode, Lost Commanders, where Zeb was used as bait to capture that underground Jupa creature.
That's right.
Yeah, and much like the Crate Dragon from Mandalorian.
And that was kind of the Jaws episode of
Lost Commanders,
of Rebels, yeah.
Yeah, so I love the snow worm, great design, but it's like, snow worm, Hunter and Crosshair are having a moment. Give it to them, okay? We want to see how this plays out. So I kind of wish they hadn't kept interrupting some important moments because we don't want to get too far with this relationship in the reuniting of Crosshair and Hunter. So we need something to interrupt. Call the snow worm here again.
Yeah. And
another Rebels callback really is the sensor perimeters that outlined the base, and that was used at Chopper base in Rebels to keep out the Kryknas.
Yeah, that's right.
Which again, another tunnel creature.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, because they went in that series of tunnels. Ooh, that was such a creepy episode.
Yeah, very much so.
Kryknas.
All right, and this episode has got the best line from Wrecker.
Why is there always a huge monster?
That was really good.
One thing that I found funny is like when they get up to the base and Batcher's like, I'm just gonna dig a tunnel hole. And apparently he digs enough of a hole that they can all like slide down to this door and pry it open and like no snow falls in. It's like, dang.
Well, it's very wet snow. That doesn't slide back into the hole. I've dug many holes in snow, and if it's wet snow, it'll stay right where you put it.
It's coarse and rough and gets everywhere.
That should be a quote in a movie, James. That's good.
All right.
And this one's got another one of those heartfelt endings where Hunter and Crosshair, they do get that moment. Like, okay, Snowworm, take a seat, okay? We want these guys to have their moments. And Hunter says, you know what? I have regrets too. I was a soldier. I have regrets too. But the only thing we can do now is to keep trying to do better. And what a great lesson to learn.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's got their mistakes.
Right.
Learn from them and just hope to do better every time.
Next time, yeah.
Yeah, don't dwell on those problems because they'll just eat away at your insides until you become more depressed. You know what? Let them out. Let them out, own them, and do better tomorrow.
The Remora, their ship, it's like, how do they dig that out at the end of the episode? It's like half buried, and then like 10 minutes later.
You know what? Batcher,
fetch.
Batcher and the Snowworm. The Snowworm's like, you know what? I've gotten in your way too many times, so let me help you out and just push push the ship out. All right, guys, keep in touch.
Yeah.
So maybe the snow worm was just needing companionship. Wait, they're having a heartfelt moment. I want in on this.
Yeah. Aw, he's all by himself out here.
I know.
All the villagers left. All the outpost people left.
Finally, the perimeter sensors are not working. I can go see what's going on in the base. Mm-hmm. Finally, you guys aren't keeping me out anymore. So now I'm starting to like the snow worm even better.
Yeah, you know, I bet he has a whole bunch of stuff that he wants to return. It's like, you guys left these boxes out here, this armor. I just want to bring it back. You know, you're littering. I'm just taking the trash back to you guys.
All those raiders, the raiders came and took your stuff. I just want to bring it back to you guys, but you guys keep chasing me away. There's a lesson to be learned there. Yeah. Don't judge a snow worm by its cover.
All right, well, I have like one big note on this episode, haven't mentioned yet, and that is Jurassic Park.
Another Jurassic Park reference?
Yes, this one was very overt. So, yes, not only the fences, but the power and how they had to restore the power. So, like, Richard, you and I were freaking out when they get to the base, they get in to the main facility, and they're charging up that iPad, and then all of a sudden the power to the perimeter fences goes out, and it turns off all the power to everything. And poor Omega's like, oh no, well, we have to return on the power. Well, we have to do that. Someone has to go out to the remote place and turn back on the power. And Richard and I were like, wait a minute.
If they call Mace Windu to do this, I will freak out.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Arnold, it's you.
Hold on to your butts.
Yes. So then just like, well, Mace and then Ellie Sattler goes out to that area to like prime the pump 3 times. Like she primes it 3 times to get the power back on.
Now, a question here.
Yes.
And in Jurassic Park, do they do it 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, she goes 1, 2, 3.
Okay, because in here they did it 2 times. I said
right, but then yeah.
Then Sarah, you said, "Oh, this is like Jurassic Park."
Yeah.
And I said, "No, they only did it twice." And
then it cuts
back to them going.
And he's doing the 3rd time.
Yeah. They couldn't be too obvious.
Yeah, and then he even had to push buttons after that, just like Ellie turns on all the perimeter fences one by one. Yep. Oh my God, we were freaking out. I was like, well, Jurassic Park is one of our favorite movies like ever. So, yeah, and it's a perimeter fence, and yeah, if they don't turn it on in time, then the other half of their team is gonna have issues. Just like poor little
Timmy.
Timmy, thank you. He got blown.
Hunter, the world's largest piece of human toast.
Yeah,
I guess he's more of a frozen Pop-Tart.
That'd be funny if they did it twice and they looked around for like making sure there's no velociraptors around here.
Yeah.
Now I'll do it a 3rd time.
And you know, because Bad Batch is kind of a kid's show, they didn't have a disembodied arm fall on Wrecker.
Yeah. Well, you know, Mace Windu did lose an arm, so it could be there.
Sam Jackson saying, I lose limbs in Jurassic Park. I lose limbs in Revenge of the Sith. I'm losing limbs everywhere.
Now, I do have to note that the music didn't have anything to do with Jurassic Park, unlike that fun Jaws episode of Rebels, which really
laid into it.
Laid into the Jaws reference with the music as well. Yeah. But still, I really thought this episode was fun, and it was my favorite until we get to these next episodes.
Oh, boy.
Infiltration and Extraction. Oof. Okay. So Rex and company capture a Clone X during an attack on Senator Chuchi and take him back to Rex's base. They discover that Clone X is after Omega and notify the Bad Batch, who travel to Rex's base on Teth. A new Clone X is assigned to kill his captured colleague and discovers Omega's presence at the base and alerts Hemlock's forces. The episode ends on a cliffhanger as Rex's troops and the Bad Batch start to flee, and Commander Wolf arrives in his ship with a battalion of stormtroopers.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
All right, so let me start this one here.
Okay.
Because you almost need a spreadsheet to keep track of all these characters that have returned.
Yeah.
First, you have Senator Singh. and he's an ex-separatist, and we saw him in the Bad Batch episode Common Ground, where he was imprisoned for speaking out against the Imperial occupation on Raxus Secundus.
Okay.
Because when we saw him, it was like, I recognize that mustache.
Facial hair?
Yeah. And I had to go back and say, okay, now I know who he is. And the fact that he's working with Senator Chuchi, who was once a part of the Republic.
Right. So they're like on opposite sides of the previous war.
And now they have a common enemy, the Empire.
Yes.
And she's Pantoran. And you can't use these characters enough. Keep on using them. I want to see another George Lucas cameo in here.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we saw Chuchi in many episodes of the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch, and her backstory is that when the Empire took control of the galaxy, she resolved to use her position of power to protect the rights of the clones. And hoping to defend the clones, she positions herself as a roadblock to the Empire, and they can't expand without my help because I'm part of the Senate. So I'm gonna roadblock the Empire because we need to really stick up for the clones. And I love that backstory, and I'm sure we're gonna see more of that because of where this is going.
And probably her as well.
Yeah. And then we have once again Wolf coming at the end.
That was a huge reveal.
Yeah, and later on we see there's another Rebels reunion there where we see Rex and Wolf and Gregor as their little tight unit, and here we see Wolf and Rex again.
Yep, and they mention Gregor. The Fireball says, "Oh, this is Gregor's recipe for whatever food." So it's like Gregor is around somewhere. He just happens not to be there that day.
Yeah, but we needed Gregor in this episode to go, there's a little foreshadowing of that Rebels arc
reunion.
Yeah. And also we have Hauser, and he's got a beef with Crosshair because Crosshair had left he and his battalion for dead on Ryloth in the last season.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a little background on each of the characters because I having seen these episodes so long ago, I couldn't remember who was who and who was doing what.
No, thank you for that. That's very handy. James, what are your thoughts on this episode?
Yeah, I think that obviously the big moment was the reveal of it being Wolf that at the very end, it just kind of blew my mind, and it was like, oh my God, where is this going? Because we know where it ends up in Rebels, but the path to get there, who knows? That I really liked that Rex went back to the monastery on Teth that we see in the Clone Wars film. He's like, hey, this is a good place to hole up. It's kind of ruined, but it's got like those secret passageways and stuff, which is pretty cool. And just that they set up a base there. And the one thing I found odd is that if you got a message from someone saying that you're on the Empire's hit list and they're looking for you, would you run straight to the person that tells you this because they've captured the person that says they're looking for you? Or would you be like, I'll take this as a very good warning to hide. Let's go hide Omega instead of let's go run to Rex. I mean, it's good to get the information and defend. And obviously, Rex wants to talk to Crosshair and Omega about Tantus and other things. But it seems like an odd move.
Yeah, but you always need Omega close by because she'll always get you out of a jam. She's like R2-D2.
The good luck charm.
Yes.
Yeah,
and it's kind of eerie that this Clone X has got an assassin's puck with a 9-year-old on it.
I mean, gosh. That comes up in the next episode.
It's a, take a live puck in her case, but.
Right. She's wanted alive, not dead. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But the fact that it's a target puck, not really an assassin. The assassin has the target puck, but the fact that this little kid is on it, that for me, that just sent a chill down my spine. Now, James, having a 9-year-old, that did the same thing for you?
I don't know, not really, because it's a different galaxy, different set
of rules,
set of different rules. Yeah, it certainly was interesting that is like, oh, this CX1, I think that's what they call him, has a list of all kinds of targets. So it's not just like a single person puck like we see in the Mandalorian. It's like This has a list of anyone. If you come across them, this is what you're supposed to do when you find them. And so, but that means it's been put out there really quick. we pretty sure that these Clone X ones are coming from Tantus, obviously, and we see that connection back to. So obviously, it makes sense that yes, Omega is kind of priority one target here. But yeah, and just the fact that like the second one comes in and gets the sniper shot off to kill the first one in prison with all of them around. It's like, who's watching the perimeter? Oh wait, the people watching the perimeter, they're gone.
Yeah.
I just realized that.
Well, I wanna note in this episode that like when I watched the Clone Wars and things, I was always more interested in like what the Jedi were doing, or Ahsoka and Padme and Anakin and things like that. And whenever they'd have like a clone focused episode, I'd be interested, but I don't know enough to know the clone names. But this series and this show has really changed that for me. Like you really get into each of these clones and their personalities. And I loved this particular episode. Really showed the clones being excellent at their jobs. Like they are just excellence personified. And so like when the Clone X at the beginning tries to take out the senators, you have the 3 clone protectors. You have like Rex and the other 2, and they have that clone captured in a matter of minutes. The one clone who like the detonator came in and he like caught it with one hand and like lobbed it back out. Like,
that was Rex.
Yeah, that was amazing. And the fact that they worked together so seamlessly was awesome to see. And then later on, when they're all hemmed in to that one room where they're trying to question that first Clone X, and they're all like caught in there when the second Clone X comes, right? Well, without even talking about it, they get themselves out of that bad situation. Like, is it Wrecker? Wrecker just takes his gun and like lays down cover fire so that the others can escape and take up positions around the room. And the way they showed it on screen was great too.
Well, that shows you the difference between the training of the clones and training of the stormtroopers.
Oh yeah,
the stormtroopers just get them out there.
Right.
Training. We'll train on the job.
Yeah.
But the clones, we saw them train on Camino.
Yeah, as we see with in Solo, a Star Wars story, like Han was just booted out. Oh, okay, now you're part of the Empire. Just go.
Exactly.
He had no training. Yeah. I also like the design of the Clone X's because they have this almost snout on their helmets. It makes them look very non-human. So they are dehumanized. So you don't look at them as actual a person. And then also when that one clone talked when he was fighting with Crosshair, he had almost that sound kind of like the Death Troopers have, the scratchy sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't even make that connection till now, but yeah, the Clone X totally seems like part of the line that leads to Death Troopers. That they're people, they're machine, they're something in between that's kind of twisted.
Well, they're program killing machines. You have one station in life, and that is to find the target and eliminate.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to Extraction now, which is really the mid-season finale at this point, I would call it. So here it is, Extraction. As the Bad Batch flee their base into the jungle, Crosshair tries to protect Omega from capture and earn the trust of Rex's followers. The mysterious Clone X almost kills Crosshair, but is washed over a waterfall when a clone trooper comes to Crosshair's aid. Commander Wolf and stormtroopers then corner the Bad Batch as Echo arrive to extract the Bad Batch and Rex's team. At this face-off, Rex reminds Wolf that they are chasing a child for the Empire. Wolf then stands down and allows Rex and the others to escape with Echo, choosing his clone brothers over the Empire.
All right, do you want to start us off on this one?
Yeah, I'll start this one. Okay, so this episode was so exciting. And like I mentioned at the very top of the show, this is where Crosshair is having to prove to Rex's followers that he is part of the team now. I think it's Hauser who really...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You left him for dead.
Yeah.
How am I going to trust you?
Yeah.
You got to earn that loyalty back.
Right. So as they're fleeing and as they're leaving, Crosshair has this kind of fatherly attitude toward Omega that he hasn't had before. And once again, he's showing rather than telling what his actions are. And with his actions, he's done that. And so Hauser says, "You've changed," to Crosshair, and Crosshair, this is when he says basically what he learned in that episode, The Outpost, that loyalty meant something to me. I realized how disposable I was. And so then he, of course, decides to join with the Bad Batch and Rex and everything they're fighting for at that point. So I thought that was very poignant. And there's a lot to unpack in that waterfall fight as well, with Crosshair and Clone X, and the fact that they showed Clone X, that second one, surviving at the end. Like, is that a special Clone X? We'll have to talk about that later.
Of course, there's a special Clone X because the whole base caves in on him. He walks away.
Yeah, no kidding.
He gets killed in this waterfall, and he walks away. So this guy is a Terminator. He's a Terminator clone.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah, if you saw the red eyes behind the helmets, like, oh, that would be awesome.
Dun, dun. Actually,
Dun, dun,
his
dun, dun.
theme is very like Terminator.
Yeah, we've been talking about how much they've been pulling from other films.
Yeah.
So I think we got a Terminator on our hands.
Yep.
Yeah, if I do hear and I'll be back, I'm done with the show. If anyone says I'll be back or this is not the droid you're looking for, I'm done.
Can you imagine Omega? Tick, tick. I'll be big.
Nope.
I'll be big.
Nope. Okay. If Omega says it, then fine, I'm in.
All right. James, what did you think of this episode?
Come with me if you want to live. It was really cool that they go out into the jungle and that they have to survive as they're being tracked down. Wolf and Clone X, it's really weird that like Wolf is not like, hey, you need to stay put and not just keep doing your own thing. And the fact that like Wolf kind of lets him do his own thing. It's like, Wolf, you're in charge here. There's the chain of command, and it's interesting to see Wolf in charge. And then there's this, his second is Republic Commando. We've seen Scorch somewhere else in this arc, another Republic Commando, and so that's a throwback to the Republic Commando video game and stuff. And I think he might appear in one episode of the Clone Wars just as a background thing, but so he's got this clone commando as his second, and then he's got a lot of stormtroopers under him, and so and then he realizes that we're not hunting these rebels, we're hunting our brothers, and so it throws him for a little minute, and I wonder what the troops under him also thought, that is like, this isn't necessarily what we expected. Maybe they didn't know that it was Rex and a bunch of rogue clones, so maybe they didn't know, but it's like they should be expecting. It's like, oh yeah, there are rogue clones out there, but I guess they didn't really know that someone's picking up clones and taking them to safety, and that Rex isn't dead. That was a big thing when Wolf is like, dude, you're dead. It's like, oh yeah, I got better.
That was such a poignant thing when he said, "Oh, you like went down with the ship
with the big cruiser."
It's like we saw that whole episode. Oh my god,
lost a lot of good men.
I got chills at that point.
Yeah. I love those references. Mm-hmm. Yes, James. To answer your question there, I don't think the Empire has enough respect for the soldiers to tell them why you're going after somebody or give them a backstory. They're just saying, there's your target, eliminate, come back when the mission has been completed. Mm-hmm. Now, another question I have is that I know the clone assassins were programmed and reprogrammed by the Empire, but why send a clone out to find Omega?
Why not?
Because they have a lot. They have a lot of their own assassins now, a lot of their own Imperials. Why find a clone to find another clone? I know that these guys were programmed to be assassins, but at some point, wouldn't they think, he's going to find this little girl who's a clone. Do you think there might be some kind of a connection here? They're going after target number 1, Omega. You would think the Empire would send out a pure Darth Vader. You think he would send out Darth Vader to look for her, not a clone.
I don't know. Darth Vader might not he's busy like hunting Jedi and stuff. But I think that sending the Clone X's is basically Hemlock's way of keeping it in-house, that he doesn't trust the rest of the Empire to help him do this, because it'll start asking questions. It's like, why are you hunting a 9-year-old girl? Why do you have all these resources? Where are you based out of? Who are you anyway? What are you doing and ordering us around? And so he has to do it on his own. And so that's why they don't bring in like any bounty hunters or anything like that, is because they got to keep it on the down low. His best weapon are these Clone X's. And it's, not only to do the job, but also test them out in the field. That, well, we had one first and that didn't work. So we'll send number 2. Version 2 is a little bit better.
And I see your point. However, you would think Vader would be in this inner circle, so he would know. And this goes on to something I've always thought about before. You have all these clones in this really high in his high status positions, like guarding Omega at Mount Tantus. You would think that you would have stormtroopers there. I know you have Republic commandos, but the Emperor is trying to phase out clones in order for stormtroopers. So they're putting clones in these high positions that you would think they would try to keep phasing them back and shoving them out in the streets.
I just had a thought on that.
Okay.
The reason we see Republic commando level people is like, yeah, that's overkill for guarding a door or walking around the station, but they could be phasing out the normal ones. And it's like, well, we'll keep the elite ones, and yes, they'll do the grunt work, but it also shows that overall the Empire is phasing out clones, but cloning is at the very heart of Hemlock's plans. That and the great thing about clones is they're disposable. No one's going to miss them. If you have normal troopers, you got to cycle them in and out, and that's an intelligence leak potential. So it's like we have these commandos. They'll do their jobs way over. And if there's any problem, we got the best of the best. And if there is a jailbreak, who better to hunt clones than commandos, who are the clones, can think like a clone, but also have way more experience, way cooler gear.
Yeah, and I know they've been reprogrammed and all, and most of them do pass that test. And yeah, once again, if you're going to have guards for Omega, you're gonna want commandos.
Right.
But I'm just thinking the last season was all about Project Warmantle and the phasing out of clones. So this season, I was kind of hoping to see more of that. Let's see the Imperials just throwing clones away.
Well, I have a thought on that. And that is, at this point, maybe the Stormtrooper program hasn't been going on for that long. And so they just don't, like, the stormtroopers that they'd like to put in charge of a squadron or whatever, they don't have enough not seniority is not the word, but experience. They don't have enough experience to be able to be in charge of that. So maybe as a couple years go on, we'll see more stormtroopers at the head of battalions.
Yeah, I'm sure this is going to take a while. It's not something you can just go,
right.
Hey, tomorrow, guess what, clones? Get in the unemployment line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just one of those things that I keep noticing again and again, that you're putting clones in these really elite positions. But I guess, say, if someone's gonna come after Omega, let's get rid of the clones first. Put them on the front lines.
All right. Anything else you want to share, Richard?
I'm loving this arc, and I'm loving the way things are going. Another disappointment is that we're not seeing these on the big screen. That waterfall scene is so cinematic, and they should have really played these on the big screen before putting them out on Disney Plus, because they're just so beautiful. They do adhere to that Lucas long shot where you pull way back to establish the location before you do the Christopher Nolan. I'm gonna punch in so no one knows where we are. Christopher Nolan, what has he done as of late? Come on, get a job.
Okay, so one thing that kind of made me laugh at the end is, at the end, Wolf and his troops just get in their shuttle and take off. It's like, what happened to the troops that went out on patrol to track things down? Is like, you guys gonna go bother picking them up if any of them survived when the Rex and Crosshair took them all on? It's like, oh yeah, we should maybe see if any of those guys are alive or anything. Nope, we're leaving. And what surprised me is that all of Wolf's his entire command listen to him. Like they don't say, this is the enemy, sir, or question his judgment. That they're like, okay, weapons down, that we'll let Rex and company go. And
well, they did. The commando was like, hey, you sure you want to do this?
Yeah, but like you'd figure there'd be someone there that would just be like, I'm not going to ask, I'm just going to start shooting because I know this is the enemy. And so
right,
that Wolf's ability to lead them all, kind of speaks to these are people who will follow his lead, not necessarily the Empire's lead.
Right.
Maybe this is how Wolf and Rex formed that band of brothers, because Wolf let Rex go.
Right.
And he knows that he can now trust Wolf. But now when Wolf gets back to the base, guys, you were gone for so long. We checked the body cams. We saw that you were facing off with them. What happened? So I think Wolf is going to be in really big trouble. And that's when Rex comes to save him.
Ooh.
That's my prediction.
That's a good, interesting take. I like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to give the Empire credit for thinking that through. That one of the clone 15 over there, he was saying that you guys were facing off with Rex and the gang.
Yeah.
Where are the carcasses?
And you let them go.
Yes. So one clone's got to talk.
Yeah. All right. I really want to dive into who is Clone X, the second one who fights with Crosshair. Are there any theories? And I've seen some theories out there, but I want to hear from you guys first.
Ezra. That's gonna be Ezra. It's always Ezra.
You mean it's Jabba the Hutt?
Or Lando Calrissian.
Oh my goodness. That's so funny.
Who do you think he is?
Okay, I've heard this a couple times. I did not get this on any of the watches, but I've heard from two separate people who thought that possibly it could be Tech, just reprogrammed. Now, I hope it's not. Richard is shaking his head emphatically. Stop it.
Nope.
I hope it's not, but there is a little bit of well, I'll have to say, like, Trisha Barr got that impression. And so, like, he's tapping things on his
armor.
On his armor. He's like controlling his ship from his armor, very Tech-like. And like, I hope he's not Tech, but there's also the fact that he falls down a waterfall and then falls again.
we can't kill this guy.
Yeah.
Are you saying he's just a fall guy?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Him and Ryan Gosling should do a movie.
And she also mentioned the way he would like kind of adjust his goggles armor a little bit. Like, yeah. So that's
all right.
And they had this very personal battle, him and Crosshair, and he almost drowned Crosshair, but that was kind of creepy. So if that is Tech, then that brainwashing really works, because Tech, we know, would never do that.
Okay, I'm hoping the Lucasfilm I know won't keep bringing characters back from the dead. Okay. Because then characters die. Oh, Megan's gonna get shot in the head. Okay, she'll be back next episode. They're like Kenny. You can't keep Kenny-izing these characters.
Oh my God! They killed Kenny! You bastard!
The idea of it being Tech goes more literally to what Project Necromancer is taking the dead and bringing them back to life. We assumed that Necromancer was more just making clones for the Emperor, moving into Rise of Skywalker. But now that with this idea, it's like, yes, we're bringing the dead back to life.
Oh my God, that's so creepy. That is so creepy, and that makes a little sense because Hemlock, at the very end of season 2, held Tech's goggles in his hand, so you know that they were at the body.
Wow! Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I think he just got those goggles just as a bargaining chip.
Well, the point is, the Empire found the body.
Very much so, but
dead or alive.
That makes sense. But what doesn't make sense from a story point is that they keep bringing characters back from the dead. But stop doing that.
Right. But if they made him like James says, like bring him back from death,
almost like zombieized.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or Frankentech.
Yeah.
The reason you can't kill him is because he's already dead, and he's like a zombie ninja
Terminator.
Well, it's kind of almost like Echo. Like Echo. We thought he died in the Citadel episodes, that story arc of the Clone Wars. Now we see him again. That kind of worked, but with it, because he was more of a background character. But now we have Tech, who everyone fell in love with.
Oh.
And it's going to diminish his character and our trust if they keep bringing these people back.
I agree
All
with
right.
that.
We almost let it go with Darth Maul. Like, nothing we can do about it. He's back.
But Darth Maul's just cool, so
yes,
it's fine.
but okay, we'll give you the one. That's your one get out of jail free card.
But now Asajj Ventress is coming, and she technically died in the end of a novel.
But we don't know how they're going to use her.
I know,
Will it be
I
a
know.
flashback? Who knows?
I know.
But if she just appears after she... Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't want to get down this hole because I've always hated that in like the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Okay.
Beloved characters die, they come right back with their own standalone movie.
All right. Well, James, do you have any theories on who Clone X could be?
No, I honestly, I just assumed it was a character we hadn't seen before, and I kind of want it to be that because, again, not using dead characters, it would be interesting if it was someone that we don't know was dead, or if they weren't dead and it was just like, oh wow, they signed up. From the body shape and size, it doesn't seem like a whole lot of armor if it's a regular clone. So I wonder if it's kind of a pared down, and we getting to those Death Trooper things, but then they're called Death Troopers for some reason.
Wow.
That puts a different spin on things.
Wow, this is a really good discussion. It's just bringing all these crazy ideas up.
Yeah, it is. I love this. Oh my gosh. Okay. Project Necromancer has new meaning.
And a new series coming this fall on NBC.
All right. Were there any Easter eggs we found in these episodes? Richard, I know you're the king of Easter eggs.
Go to the picture.
Oh, okay.
Go to the picture because we saw this when the evil captain had stolen Batcher and brought him to the shipyard. We have all that ring of stolen animals, and we see this. What does that look like? We see a crate.
Oh, that looks like the Galaxy's Edge crates that you can... That's where you adopt your animals.
It sure does look like those Galaxy's Edge crates where you can adopt a lost cat.
Oh.
Or this one has more of the...
cylindrical...
slits, but that one has more of the round one. But even the Arabish is the same.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, so maybe these crates were going to Black Spire Outpost.
Here, put that closer. Whoa.
I'm a little rusty on my Arabish. So, James,
Caution.
do you know what that says?
It says caution.
Yeah, caution.
Caution. Okay. So apparently, you and Sarah have been just doing some studying together.
Well, it says caution right here.
Oh.
Well, no, you can see the TION pretty obviously.
Okay, good deal. But other than that, yeah, these are the same. The same crates.
That's awesome.
Right there, they're holding creatures. I'm holding Christmas lights.
Ooh, the most dangerous.
I love that.
But when one goes, they all go, and you get really upset about it. All right. So then, aside from the architecture inside the bases, which all have those control panels we saw in the Star Wars and the Death Star control panels with their red walls.
Yes.
And we hear a lot of the same sound effects. We like we said earlier, we see the Void Striders in that creature yard, and Extraction. We hear the Wilhelm scream that has returned as a stormtrooper falls out of the dropship on Teth. We hear a stormtrooper. Then the ship crashes behind trees. Whereas 1980s, 1970s movies, when you couldn't film a helicopter crashing because it was really expensive, it always had to fly behind something and you see a big explosion. That was their way of saving money and not having to show a ship or a helicopter explode.
Yeah, you laughed for about 5 minutes after you saw that.
Because this is animation, you can do whatever you want. But that was Dave Filoni and crew saying, "Hey, you 70s and 80s kids, this one's for you. We're gonna crash this ship behind some trees."
Or you didn't even think about it. It's just like, this is what you do. Like, it's like you don't know any different. It's just like, yeah, this is how it gets done. And especially, yeah, like you say, you have the budget. It's like, no, we're going to spend the budget on this really cool waterfall fight, or them all shooting in the dark through the fog and at the other troopers that are chasing him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, and then I have one Easter egg to bring up, and that is when we're listening to Infiltration and Extraction episodes, we read the dialogue.
Yeah, the captions.
We do the closed captions. And so there's a trooper named Nemec. And whenever they said Nemec, I was like, oh, it's like Nemec and Andor. Oh, R.I.P. Nemec.
Yeah.
From the I episode of Andor, the poor little kid.
Yeah.
So, but it's spelled differently, but still, it just reminded me of that.
I think that trooper Nemec has been seen before. I forget where,
I'm
but
sure.
it was in the trivia gallery on StarWars.com where we've seen that Nemec. I don't recall off the top of my head, but yeah, it was definitely when they said Nemec, that's what I thought first too.
Now, James, is there any science, especially of cloning or blood work, that you can shed some insight on?
Yeah, the Nala Se's lab and the fact that they have like this big machine that it rotates and does a sample at once, that just seems super slow and cumbersome to do, like one tube at a time. I mean, it's great for dramatic effect because you can see what's happening as it goes around. But yeah, you just have a machine that would just like do, a rack of 96 of them at once. And going back to Nala Se, it's like, yeah, she kept throwing Omega's tube in the incinerator, but never told her why. And so like later on, Omega has her tube and, it's like, should I throw this away? And it doesn't, but is one of the, if Nala Se had told her early, is like, never let the Empire get your blood, because that will spell the end of anything, and also probably the end of your usefulness. So, but yeah,
Okay.
just the technology and the lab work felt, or it just seemed like anyone who's worked in a lab with modern stuff there's a lot higher throughput than doing these tubes one at a time and looking at the results one at a time. It's like you'd get it all done and then you'd look at all the results.
Okay.
I don't know, the rest of the science. Let's see what other cool science things. I don't know, I thought the ice worm was really cool, and the idea of having some sort of electronic perimeter thing. Maybe. I mean, we have those things that keep groundhogs away.
Who, Bill Murray?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Well,
it keeps a lot of things away.
I have a question for you on that blood centrifuge thing. So, do you think the Empire is actually adding something to the clone's blood and then checking the results?
Yes, that generally when you do this kind of reaction, you add a reagent or something. I mean, first you want to purify out the cell membrane. You don't need those. If you're looking for something inside the cells, you'd centrifuge out the stuff you don't need, or find some way to take the genetic material, if you're looking at like DNA or mRNA, and purify that, and maybe find a way to amplify, add reagents so that you can make more of it, so you can then do the tests a lot easier. So yeah, you'd be adding stuff, taking away stuff to get to the material you want. So that they got to be probably something that just easily will tag midichlorians a lot easier, so that can get M counts faster.
Wow. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, what do you think they're adding to that blood? Because my theory was maybe they're adding a little bit of that M count specimen they may have. But that'd be a lot of specimens to have. But I'm thinking, do they have some Jedi blood samples that they can put in a couple of drops per vial to see how that reacts? What do you think that is?
I hadn't thought about that really, but it could be, yeah, something that reacts with midichlorians. So it's easier to tell the reaction. I don't know if adding more midichlorians would necessarily do that, but unless it's like an activation thing where it's like, oh, we have a critical mass of midichlorians, they're easier to count. But obviously, episode 1, Qui-Gon is able to test Anakin's blood and get a count right away. So so maybe the Empire doesn't have that technology that the Jedi were very good at not letting anyone else have it. And so
Mm.
You know, that Hemlock's technique is the best they could do, or Nalisay's techniques. Yeah, it could be a lot of different things that they could be adding. You know, it could just be some like basically food substrate so that the cells will stay alive longer, or it'll be something that just causes the cells to pop so the midichlorians are more freely loose, and so they can be counted easier. Wow, I got lots of stuff going on here, and then
stuff we didn't know about.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And I just want this to work, just so those YouTubers can stop saying somehow Palpatine returned. Yes, okay, now we know how Palpatine returned. Lay off of him. Oh, that drives me crazy. So I can't wait to hear some of your upcoming Star Warsologies episodes, because there's lots to unpack here with the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Well, they were doing a one thing with Omega's blood, and they found out that she also has a high chance of Hansen factor, because she has a very high MBOP.
All right, now, before we wrap it up here, we looked ahead at the rest of the episode titles. The last episode is titled "The Cavalry Has Arrived." What do you think that means?
It's Ming-Na Wen from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and she's just coming as Fennec Shand. No, I don't know. I mean, I would assume that if the batch is on its own, then it'll be Rex and company, or we haven't seen Cody in a while.
Very true.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard this title and I felt like, okay, well, and as the season has progressed, I feel like it's all the Bad Batch. They're doing what they want to do, which is infiltrate Tantus. They're the cavalry. They're arriving on Tantus.
Right. They're the cavalry. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too.
That's what I would assume, because that's Rex's goal. That's Omega's goal. Like, they want to infiltrate Mount Tantus so that they can rescue all the clones. Yes.
Yeah. I want to see, after they rescue the clones all banding together and saying, okay, now it's us against them. I want to see the clones out of the Empire, but we do see clones in Andor, so we know there's going to be a small faction who do stay behind.
Yeah.
But I really want to see the clones, a Clone Wars where it's the clones and the Stormtroopers.
But if Fennec Shand decides to cosplay as Agent May, I will not be sad.
Okay, one other thing that just keeps bopping around my head is that, you know, we have Hemlock, and the first thing I think of, I mean, you know, Hemlock being poison and all that, but also the Sesame Street character Sherlock Hemlock, and so it just keeps cracking me up that his name is Hemlock, because the only other Hemlock I know is Sherlock Hemlock, the world's greatest detective from Sesame Street.
What color is he?
He's green, and then where's the Sherlock? I think kind of brownish.
Yeah, with that two-sided cap.
Okay. Fun.
So
Houndstooth.
what this all comes down to is that you think Hemlock is a puppet.
Ooh,
Well, in a way, he kind of is, isn't he? Oh, James, right on the nose. Hemlock is a puppet. Okay, good deal. All right, one last thing. In this cavalry, I want to see the return of Caleb Doom. We set him up in the very first episode of The Bad Batch. Let's pay that off. Yeah, the circle is now complete.
That's interesting, but I'm a book reader, so like I know kind of his story originates in the
A New
Something
Dawn.
with
A New
Dawn.
Dawn.
A New Dawn.
Eclipse. It's called The New Moon and the Eclipse.
A New Dawn. Yeah, with him
Hera.
meeting Hera. And Hera's kind of his call to adventure. But
I'm not saying it's perfect. I would just like to see that come full circle.
I gotcha.
Well,
Cool.
you did mention like you wanted to see like clones taking on the Empire, and that would explain maybe that's why they're called the Clone Wars, because there's a second war we haven't seen yet.
Oh.
Yeah, that's totally not going to happen, but
You're right. You know, I've always wondered, wait a minute, some people call it the Clone Wars, some people call it the Clone War. If you go back, maybe it's the Jedi who call it the Clone Wars, knowing there's a second one coming.
Interesting.
Set this up way well.
So tonight, Sarah, we're gonna watch all the Clone Wars episodes.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right. All right, James. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really talked ourselves into a lot of fun ideas today, I think.
Yeah, a lot of speculation and a lot of new episodes of Star Warsologies that are now in the works.
Woohoo! So where can people find you on social media?
Probably the easiest way to find me is on the Star Warsologies podcast fan group on Facebook. But also you can find me at James Jawa on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you can find me. Or you can find me at your local convention.
That's right. Awesome.
Well, we will see you there. We got many coming up in our future.
Yeah.
But, they're traitors. Perhaps. But they're clones. We owe them that.
So we went through so many great theories during our discussion with James, and once again, fingers crossed. All right, so Sarah, like always, you do a great breakdown of the music of the shows we're talking about, such as The Bad Batch. So tell us some of the musical highlights that you picked out.
Okay, so I want to bring up 2 today, and it kind of ties back into our discussion with James. So I want to first unpack that our Clone X that we see surviving at the end of this,
arc?
Of this arc. That Clone X is Terminator theory. Okay. And go ahead.
It wasn't until we talked to James that I really figure that this was a good Terminator reference.
I know, exactly. Okay. So this is kind of put forth in the music. So I'm going to play a little for you. So anytime you see Clone X, you will hear synthesizer, very low synthesizer, and all electronic music beats. Very Terminator, right?
Mm-hmm. Very ominous.
And again, we're seeing this theme of nature versus technology that's implemented in the music. Clone X is on the side of technology. Clone X is engineered by the Empire, we're thinking. So, first of all, let's see, which one should we play? Go ahead.
Oh, first play the Terminator.
Okay, we'll play the Terminator theme.
Then we'll juxtapose that with the Clone X theme.
Okay, you got it.
Clone Xinator.
All right, so here is the Terminator theme. Get it in our heads. I don't want to play too much of that.
Yeah.
All right, so now here is the Clone X theme.
Oh, that is so Terminator.
Right?
That is so Terminator.
Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome.
It's like a little bit faster than the Terminator theme, but it's got those like 3 notes. Those
yes.
Dun, 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 you know, da, 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 da. And Clone X is a little more moving forward than the Terminator theme. But it's all kind of the same synths, same orchestrations going on.
Very, very period. You hear the Terminator theme, you think that's 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So the Clone X is like 80s, and they modernized it. But you can still, is it just me? Can you still hear that little 80s sound to it?
I can hear it because it's all the synths. That's what really is screaming 80s to me.
Okay.
Yeah. In my opinion.
Okay, great.
Now, I do feel like this theme for Clone X is not even a full theme, which really transmutes into Clone X is not even a real person. You know, he's not a fully fledged individual. He's just a tool that the Empire uses. Yeah. In fact, it almost sounds like a hammer. Mm-hmm. Hammering down. Da, da. Well, now I'm singing the Terminator theme, but dun, dun, dun,
mm-hmm.
dun, dun, mm-hmm. dun. You know, it's like a hammer.
They've just taken all of the personality and all the humanistic traits out of that clone, whoever he was before he became Clone X. Very Terminator.
Yeah.
Very mechanical.
It's so cool.
Yes. No emotion whatsoever.
So you hear it.
I hear it now. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I sure do.
Oh my gosh, Skywalkers! I'm so excited. Clone X is Terminator. Okay.
There's so many times when they've, like we said in the conversation with James, they've taken from other genres and other films,
mm-hmm.
and they've done it brilliantly with that.
Yeah.
But it was so good that you can feel it when you're watching it, but you don't really think. It doesn't take you out of the moment.
No, not at all. Yeah, it's that particular theme. You can really hear that theme very well at about 12 minutes in to the Extraction episode. And that's where you hear that Clone X theme.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
All right. I'm ready for more.
Okay, so I have one more point, and we're going to talk about this. So Omega's Clockwork Tantus theme returns. Now, this theme we talked about is initially played over and over again in the season 3, episode 1, Confined. There, it really seemed to represent her endless confinement and how repetitive her stories were. But then we hear it again in an unexpected place, and that makes me think it represents something more. So I want to play it, and I want to know what you think.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, I'm going to play the original theme that we hear in episode 1, Confined.
Okay.
So you hear that little kind of clock, the chiming, right?
I'm hearing a lot of Loki in that.
Oh.
With the Miss Minutes.
Okay.
And the.
Well, Miss Minutes is a clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you play that, I visualize Miss Minutes.
Interesting. Okay. So you have that in your head.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, big time.
It's a cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So at the end of Extraction, Rex says you need to figure out why Omega is so important to them at Tantus. And then we hear the Omega Tantus clockwork theme return over the top of that music. So I'm going to play that and then we'll unpack.
Okay.
I think she's vital to whatever they're doing on Tantus. And if you want to keep her safe, you need to find out why she's so important to them.
And that's the end of the episode.
Oh, that track should be called "The Return to Tantus."
Yeah,
because that's what that to me.
Okay,
that's what that track is saying. We're gonna find Tantus. We're gonna return to Tantus because that's when we first heard that Miss Minutes theme.
Okay.
So hearing that again here, that's the story telling you they're gonna find their way to Tantus.
Interesting. So that's what you think. It's become the Tantus theme for
Yes.
you. Okay.
Yes. Because everything there is just like that big dial with the vials of blood. Everything is just so repetitive every single day.
Okay. So to me, it meant something different.
Oh.
To me, because they were talking about Omega here, to me, it meant that this is what Omega's destiny is, or what Omega means to the Empire. Because we heard that theme over and over again, seeing Omega on Tantus. We also heard it when her blood centrifuge is going around. And so I'm calling it now. I will not be surprised if in the finale we hear like an orchestral version of this theme as like the finale is happening and she's getting to her destiny, whatever that is. So I would love to hear that clockwork theme more orchestral.
As they return to
No.
Tantus.
Well, no, as Omega does whatever it is that she's supposed to do for her destiny, whatever her finale is.
Well, freeing the clone. That's her mission. Her
Yeah.
mission is to free the clones.
Yes, but what I think what it means is whatever her blood means to the Empire.
Okay.
That's what I think this theme is saying then, instead of just her on Tantus.
Okay. Then what is she going to find when she gets
I'm not
there?
saying what it's going to find, but I'm from context clues and from talking to the actress herself, Michelle Ang,
Mhm.
you know, I feel like something happens to Omega. And I don't know if it's going to be good or bad at the end, but whatever happens to her specifically,
Mhm.
not her rescuing the
clones.
clones, because I think that's going to be up to the rest of the Bad Batch. But I think Omega's going to have her own destiny, her own journey. And when that's happening, like her blood is being used or whatever it is, we're going to hear some orchestral version of this clock.
So you think they're going to free the clones and then she's going to maybe look into Nala Say's notes, like, oh, this is why they want me.
Yeah, and find out what her blood actually means.
Okay.
So that's what I think.
Okay.
What do you guys think, Skywalkers?
Yeah, that could go either way. Nice. All right, now, can I give us some extra editing chores to do?
Okay.
Let's put in some Miss Minutes Loki music here. Okay?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
That's how close they really are. That's close. That's very, very close.
I can see where you went there.
All part of the same universe. Ooh. No, I didn't say multiverse universe. Oh no, get us out of here. Get us out of here. Moving on.
Well, that wraps up episode 456
Hurry up. Skywalking through Neverland. Hold on. I don't think the multiverse heard us.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Okay, we're safe.
We're safe. No multiverses in Star Wars. All right, now we want to thank James Floyd from Star Warsologies for coming on the show and helping us come up with all those great theories. Can't say that more than enough times. I'm loving our theories.
I know. I love when you're talking and you just kind of stumble upon one in the moment. And we did that several times. So thank you, James.
You know what? Pat ourselves on the back.
I love it.
And we want to thank all you Skywalkers for joining us in the Sky Chat and jumping on when we decide to do a live stream at the very last minute. Believe me, it's because of our schedule, so we apologize, but we thank you once again for joining us. We couldn't have done this without you because it's so much fun reading all your comments.
Yes. All right, are you interested in our...
once again, hold on. And once again, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. We need 6 more. 6 more by next week, okay?
There we go. It's up to you. Are you interested in our books? Well, autographed copies of Today in Star Wars History, Parts 1 and 2, and Skywalking Through My Fandom, our interactive notebook, are available now from skywalkingthroughneverland.com/book. We just sent off a few this week.
Yeah, we did.
Thank you, Skywalkers. It's so much fun to autograph those. And yeah, we love it.
Yeah, and don't forget to join us every Monday for Things We Want to Share at 6 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube. That's where we can go more in-depth with things that we want to share. That
we've done that week or news of the week, things like that. That's usually Monday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific.
And sometimes Skywalkers will jump on and share some of the stuff that they've just gotten or news they want to share. It's a lot of fun. It's a big Skywalking meetup party.
Yeah. Now, would you like to support Skywalking Through Neverland? Well, you can support us through the Skywalking Force, which is our Patreon. You too can be part of the Skywalking Force. You have access to bonus content in the form of our StreamYard discussions on the latest Disney Plus shows. More recently, it's The Bad Batch. And you'll also get a coupon code to use for our books. In fact, I need to send a coupon code to, I think, 3 new people, new Skywalkers. So I will do that. Thank you. This bonus content begins at only $5 a month. You can head to skywalkingforce.com, have a look at the options available, and thank you so much to those of you who are already part of the Skywalking Force.
Nice. Now we want to thank our sponsor once again, Small World Vacations, for their support. Thinking of a trip to a Disney park? Well, you can fill out a Get a Quote form at smallworldvacations.com today. Their vacation planning service is free of charge. So head over there and tell them Skywalking Through Neverland sent you.
Now we are part of the Skywalking Network.
Ready, everyone? Skynet.
Where you can find other great shows like Talking Apes,
The Neverland Clubhouse,
Totally Tell Me Everything,
Star Warsologies with our good friend James Floyd and Melissa Truth,
and the YouTube shows Collectopolis and
Today in Star Wars History. Kelly was the first one to jump in.
Woo! Skynet.
Kelly whispered Skynet in the Sky Chat.
Well, you can find us on social media in between shows. We are at Skywalking Pod for most of all of your socials. And also we have our Facebook group and YouTube. For either of those, search Skywalking Through Neverland and join us there. And if you want something exciting to share, please email us, share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com.
Boy, we like to share, don't we?
Yep.
Now, don't forget to stick around for bloopers and other fun bits that didn't make it into the show. And
always remember
to feed your batcher.
And
Neverland on Alderaan.
Feed bitcha. I love how all the YouTube after shows for that first week were like, and it's bitcha. Like they were saying it in her. They didn't know it was Badger. Like we knew it was Badger right away because we watched the closed captions. I need some long haired boys now. That did not sound bad.
That'll make the blooper reel.
There we go. Well, Rich, I know what you're getting for Christmas.
A wig?
Yep.
Thor or Hanson? No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
Hey, look at those names to the left. They are part of the Skywalking Force, our Patreon.
Become a producer yourself and check out all the Disney Plus themed bonus content available depending on the level you subscribe.
Become a member of the elite Skywalking Force at skywalkingforce.com.